Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're jumping into something that's really changing the game for B2B companies, using AI to figure out who your best customers really are. Let's get right into it.
So let me ask you a question. Imagine you're on a road trip, but the map you're using is 10 years old. You'd be totally lost, right? New highways are missing, old roads are gone. Well, for a long time, that's kind of how B2B marketing has been working. You're trying to navigate a market that changes every single day, but you're using a map that's completely out of date. Now that old map, it has a name. It's called Firmographic Segmentation. It's the standard practice of carving up the market based on things like a company's industry, how big they are, or where they're located. And look, for a long time, it was the best tool we had. It's the foundation of B2B targeting.
But that brings us to the biggest issue with that traditional approach, and it's a huge one. It's what we call the static data problem.
See, the data we use for this old-school segmentation usually comes from databases or annual reports. And while that information is useful, it's really just a snapshot. It's one single picture taken at one specific moment in time.
So you go out, you gather all this data, you spend weeks cleaning it up and building your sales lists or your marketing campaigns, but in the time it takes to do all that work,
Yep, it's already out of date. The market doesn't wait for you. Companies get acquired, they get a huge round of funding, they pivot their entire business model. That perfect picture you took is already getting fuzzy, losing its accuracy with every passing day.
And the consequences of using that old fuzzy map, they're very real. You end up wasting so much effort reaching out to companies that are no longer a good fit. Your sales team gets stuck in cycles that go absolutely nowhere. And maybe the worst part? You're completely missing out on huge opportunities because they weren't on your old map to begin with.
So how do we fix this mess? Well, this is where things get really interesting. It's time to introduce the AI upgrade, which basically throws that old paper map in the trash and gives you something way more powerful. The difference is just night and day. The old map is static. It's a fixed picture. It's manual. You have to do all the work. And it's descriptive. It only tells you where things used to be. The AI-powered approach is like a live GPS. It's dynamic and automated, constantly updating itself. And most importantly, it's predictive. It doesn't just show you the map. It tells you the best route, anticipates traffic jams, and even points out new roads as they're being built.
Okay, so you're probably wondering, how does this AI GPS actually work? What's going on under the hood that makes it so different? Let's break down the core functions that completely change the targeting game.
AI brings a whole set of superpowers to the table. First, it's constantly pulling in live data to enrich what you already know. Then, it actively scans for growth signals, things like a sudden hiring spree or a big funding announcement. It can even tell you what software a company is using. All of that feeds into a system that predicts which leads are most likely to buy and then groups them into these super specific micro segments.
and this really gets to the heart of it. There's a quote from the source material that just nails it. AI isn't just about finding where your best customers are today. It's about anticipating who your best customers are going to be tomorrow. It's a fundamental shift from being reactive to being predictive.
So the tech is really cool, for sure. But what does this actually mean for your bottom line? How does all this clever strategy turn into actual, measurable revenue?
Well, this is where the rubber really meets the road. Your marketing team can suddenly do hyper-precise account-based marketing. Your sales team can stop wasting time and focus only on the accounts that are showing real buying signals. And for the big picture strategy, you can find brand new markets to expand into or even spot the perfect company to partner with.
And the best part? You can actually measure if it's working with real business numbers. You can see if your engagement with key accounts is climbing. You can track if you're closing deals faster, and you can answer the million-dollar question. Are we lowering our cost to acquire a customer? These are the metrics that prove this isn't just hype.
Okay, this all sounds pretty amazing, right? But you might be thinking, where do I even begin? So let's walk through a simple, practical action plan to get you started. First things first, you've got to start with a clean house. That means auditing and cleaning your existing data. From there, you figure out what your ideal customer really looks like. And then you bring in the AI tools to start building these new dynamic segments. The next part is all about action, scoring accounts, prioritizing them, and, this is crucial, making sure your sales and product teams are in the loop. And finally, you have to remember this isn't a set it and forget it kind of thing. You've got to constantly test, refine, and update. All right, let's be real for a second. This isn't a magic wand. There are definitely a few things to watch out for. Everything, and I mean everything, depends on the quality of your data. Garbage in, garbage out. There are also technical hurdles like cost and integrating with your other systems. But maybe the biggest thing to remember is that you still need a human in the driver's seat. AI is brilliant at finding patterns, but it takes a smart strategist to figure out what those patterns mean and what to do about them.
So we end right back where we started. This AI-powered approach is the live, predictive GPS for B2B. It's just faster, smarter, and way more accurate than doing things the old way. And that leaves us with one last, pretty important question. Your competition is already upgrading to the live GPS. Can you really afford to get left behind? Trying to find your way with an old paper map?